Hello everyone. Let's start with the second stanza now because we have discussed the first stanza of the poem, An Elementary School Classroom in a Slum. And I would like to tell some important points of the first stanza here. So we have seen that the poet Stephen Spander, he has shown how the children are looking in the classroom which is in a slum area. He has said that these children look like they are lacking the energetic waves which are seen on the faces of the rich children. These children seems to be malnourished. He has talked about a tall girl who is sitting with a way down head. She seems to be depressed of being poor. Then the writer talks about a boy who is having rat's eyes. Why? Because he is always looking for food only. He is hungry and that's why he look for food only. He is searching for food only. And then he talks about a boy, one young unnoticed boy who is sitting at the back and he is lost in his dreams. And he is dreaming about the squirrels game. This is the game which he can afford, and that's why he is thinking about that thing only. So this is the picture of the students or the children who are sitting in the classroom, which has been depicted by the writer in the first stanza. And in the second stanza he talks about the classroom, how the classroom looks. So the writer says, on sour cream walls, donations, Shakespeare's head, cloudless at dawn, civilized dome riding all cities. Now he is telling us that the classroom is looking shabby. Although picture is also there from where you can see how the classroom is looking, but I feel that the writer has used the words in such a way that they create a vivid image in front of our eyes. Means we can create an image in our eye to feel what kind of classroom it is. He says that the walls are looking shabby because they are dull in color now. It means they haven't been painted freshly. They are damp and they might be giving the smell of sour cream. And their color is also dull like sour cream. And then he says that there are some donations. He is talking about some of the pictures which have been donated, maybe donated by some people. So he says that there are some donations and these are different pictures which were donated by different people. There is a picture of Shakespeare. You can see here in the image also Shakespeare's head is shown there, and then he says that at the back of Shakespeare what can be seen? A cloudless dawn, means a beautiful scenery is depicted there, and which may be tempted these children towards this world because their world is not so fresh, so beautiful. Their world is only the slum area where they cannot see the beautiful sky, they cannot see the beautiful fields, they cannot see this beautiful dawn. Then he says that then what is there? Civilized dome riding all cities. So he says that these children are being shown a picture of civilized dome which is riding all the cities. Means the world which is depicted in the pictures, that is far far away from the real world of these children. It is not according to their own world, means they cannot correlate their life with these pictures. It is totally contrast to what they really see. So let us move ahead. What the writer says in the next lines: belled flowery tireless valley, open-handed map, awarding the world its world. And yet for these children, so he says that not only that only these pictures are there, although in this picture I cannot show you that Tyrolese valley is also there, but yeah, you can create the image in your mind, and in the next slide you will be able to see how beautiful the Tyrolese valley looks. So the writer is saying that there is the picture of the Tyrolese valley also, the flowery belled Tyrolese valley which is looking so beautiful. But it is not exactly like the world of these children. It is totally in contrast to the world of these children, this Tyrolese valley. This is beautiful, but the world of these children is not beautiful. Then there is one open-handed map. It is also seen in the picture. So open-handed map means the map of the world, which is shown to these children. And for these children, this map, they are not able to come out of their slum areas. How will they be able to get access to this open-handed map to the world? Then he says that awarding the world its world. So the writer is saying that this world which is being awarded to these children, which is being shown to these children, it is far away from their real world. You are awarding them that world which is not according to their own world. It is totally a contrast to their world. And then he says, and yet for these children, so what he tells about the condition of the real world of children, that can be seen in the next slide. But before that, you can see how beautiful the Tyrolese Valley looks. And in the second picture, here is a landmass which is stretching into the ocean, so it is called Cape. So such kind of pictures are being shown in the classroom, but I feel that these children are far away from such kind of beautiful world. So if these these kind of pictures are being awarded to these children, what is the use of them? You are just tempting them to do something wrong, because they very well know that we won't be able to access this world if we will try. So they will definitely try to opt for something which can be called as illegal. So let's see what the writer says. He says that, and for these children, these windows, not this map, their world, where all their future is painted with the fog. Now the writer says, for these children, this world is not, this map is not their world. This window is their world. Means if they look out of the window, they will be able to see the slum area only. And for these children, the slum area is their world, not the one which is being depicted on the map. And then he says, where all their future is painted with the fog. He says that in their world, their future is painted with fog, means their future is not clear for them. Although we know that the future is uncertain for everyone, but for these children, this uncertainty increases only as compared to others, because there is no hope for their children. Then this is the picture of Cape, and then he says that a narrow street sealed in with a lead sky, and the writer now says that their streets look like as if they are sealed with a lead sky, means the world is not bright for them. They are living in such a world where they cannot see the clear sky. The clear sky is not visible to them. So how can you say that such kind of pictures can be like for them correlating with life? Means how will they be able to correlate such kind of pictures with their real life when their real world is so bleak? And then he says that far from rivers, capes and stars of words. Now he says that their real world is far away from rivers, from these capes and star of words. Star of words mean the richness of the language. They cannot understand that. What the Shakespeare has written, they won't be able to understand that. Means Shakespeare's writings, they won't be meaningful for them. They will be meaningless for them. And any other kind of writing, whatever is being taught to them, that will be meaningless for them, because they are not being provided what they really need. Whatever is being awarded to them, whatever is being presented to them, that is totally different from what they really have in their real life. Means their real life is totally contrast to what they are being shown in the classroom. So this was the second stanza which I have explained, and let us find out the poetic devices in this stanza. So now let us talk about the poetic devices or the figures of speech. Those have been used in this stanza. So in this second stanza, sour cream walls, it is a metaphor. Okay, and why it is a metaphor? Because here the poet compares the color of the sour cream with the wall's color. Means to show how the wall is looking, he is using the phrase sour cream. He wants to say that the wall is dull and shabby. That's why he is using this metaphor here. Then next he is using allusion here, because he has written that Shakespeare's head. Means when we take the reference from the history of any person or of any place, then we call that as the allusion. Figure of speech is allusion. And allusion can be example of any mythical place also. Means it is not only that historical place is being talked about, it can be mythical place also, or mythical person also. Then Cloudless at dawn, civilized dome riding all cities. Now you can see here that the writer is creating imagery in front of you, means cloudless at dawn, it is creating an image in front of us, so we can say that this is example of imagery. And then there is example of personification, civilized dome riding all cities. Now riding, this is the quality of human beings. Okay, but the writer is using this riding word for civilized dome, which are non-living things, so we can call it as personification. Next, Belled flowery Tyrolese Valley. So Tyrolese Valley, this is again a reference. So this is example of illusion. And then open-handed map awarding the world is world. This is metonymy. metonymy, metonymy. Why? Because in this case the poet refers to the privileged class by using the word world. Okay, when any word is used for we want to describe something, and when we are using some other word for that, not exactly like metaphor, but I can explain with the help of one example here. For example, pen is mightier than sword. Pen is mightier than sword. So what we are doing, we are using pen for literary words which are being written words. Okay, means written words are more powerful than sword, means bloodshed. So here pen and sword, these are examples of metonymy, because we are using pen for writing, means written words, and sword for bloodshed or war. So similarly the writer has used here world for privileged people. Okay, privileged people, privileged class, by using the word world. Then next, if we see here, open-handed map awarding the world its world, and yet for these children, just a minute, one thing is left. These windows, not this map, their world, where all their future is painted with a fog. So here we can see that the poet is using another metaphor when he is using, window. He is comparing the window of the class to the poor children's world. Means he wants to say that in the classroom, whatever pictures are there, these are not these children's world. Where is their world? Outside the window. So that window is a representative of their real world. I mean, it shows their real world. So window is the example of metaphor here. Then future is painted with the fog. So this is example of future and fog. If we take this one, future future fog, this is alliteration because F sound is being repeated. And then future is painted with the fog, lead sky. In the next slide, as you will see, these are the examples of metaphor again, because the writer wants to say that the children's future is uncertain, it is hopeless. So for showing that hopelessness, he has written that future is painted with fog, means their future is hopeless. And here you can see a narrow street sealed in with a lead sky. So lead sky is again the example of metaphor, because lead sky is used for showing that their world is bleak, there is no hope for them. And star of words, this is again metaphor. Why? Because stars of words means the words which are written by rich people, or means language rich words which students cannot understand, these children cannot understand, means they are not from that rich world, they won't be able to understand the words of Shakespeare. So such kind of words have been called as stars of words. And this is example of what? This is example of metaphor. Then here you can see far. So far, it is repetition. And if we see far from, so this is a repetition of F sound, so this is alliteration. And next, street sealed. In the first line you can see street sealed, so there is a repetition of S sound, so this is alliteration. So these are the figures of speech which have been used in this stanza. With this, I would like to end the video here only, and I will meet you soon with the explanation of the third stanza. So thank you till then, and thank you for watching my video. Thank you.